Look, I just want to ask you about Paul O'Connell. You've obviously played with him and you've been involved with him in the years provincial level. It's obviously sad to see him end his career in an injury at the World Cup.
No, absolutely, and I thought it was an immense performance by the boys to get through that with obviously the quality that went off the paddock.
Yeah.
And it just shows how good the squad is and how well they're prepared and come through that. And I thought they negated most of the stuff that France threw at them, and to have such a big margin win in the end, that was a credit to those guys. And okay, it'll be if that's his tournament over, and obviously it'll be a massive loss to Ireland. For him, it's obviously not the way that he would have wanted to go out. But he's been an absolute legend in the game for Munster and Ireland over the years, and obviously British lands, and it'll be sad for him, and hopefully with the injury he can get that rehabbed well enough that he's able to still play over in France.
And one person goes, and you've young Iain Henderson coming through the other end, and everybody's been talking about him in the World Cup. Even the New Zealand press have been talking about him, which is always a worry when New Zealand are talking. But he's an obviously candidate to step into Paul O'Connell's shoes in the future.
No, definitely. And the physical presence that Hendy brings, off the bench there at the weekend, obviously starting in a couple of other games, is immense. He's obviously a big man, and he's definitely a threat with the ball and without the ball, and that proved again on Sunday when he did come in for Paulie. So look, he knows he's still a long way to go, and learn the game, and honestly Paulie called the lineouts and was a real sort of student of lineout play, and and that's something Hendy's got to pick up and try and be as good as Paulie, and but for him to have that flexibility as well, to float around in the back five and sixth and second row, and it's tremendous for us, it's tremendous for Ireland, and they're probably going to be having a few question marks of what way they're going to go with regards to the injuries that have happened, and I'm not sure whether Sean O'Brien's sighting
lunchtime
today, so so it'll probably be a little bit of to and fro over the next 24 hours to see what way they go.
I was going to say we expecting to lose Dan Tuohy as a replacement.
Yeah, no, obviously I'd sort of preempted maybe a couple of things happening for us, so I tried to touch base with the Irish management, and they just said they weren't going to make any calls until post game, and obviously Jared losing out, and whether there's going to be any effect on us and stuff, and so I believe it's Mike McCarthy, and he's been brought in, so look, Dan probably would have been a candidate to come in there, and they've obviously went for Mike McCarthy, and good for us that we haven't lost any more players, but obviously it would have been nice for Dan, potentially to get in there.
You probably can't say, but I'll ask you anyway. Was Andrew Trimble's name mentioned during your discussions with the Irish management? In terms of replacement to Ireland?
There was discussions on that, but as I said, it was very brief. They weren't going to make any calls until after that France game. I think, I suppose if you look at the backs, pretty well covered in most of those areas, and obviously there's a few spanners been thrown into the works with a few other forwards gone missing now. So probably what, and I'm not sure what they had in their heads. They were thinking. They said that there was possibilities that we may lose a couple of players sort of at the early part of the week, but it hasn't materialised at the moment.
Okay. Have you had a chance to assess Jared Payne's injury here and make
No.
a prognosis?
No.
Very...
He's been touching base with Dr. Webb there, and,
okay.
So I'm not quite sure what stage that's at the moment.
And in terms of the Pro 12 against Edinburgh this weekend, I'll ask you about the out half, as we always have for the past couple of weeks. Humphreys and Windsor, neither were involved in the A game last weekend. Are they likely to come through this week?
at this stage, they're both back on the paddock. I suppose when you look at the both of them, it's been nearly 2 months now so they haven't quite reached where we had hoped that they would be. But they're back on the paddock training, and I think these 2 days, we've 2 good days training now, and we just have to see how those guys react over the next 24 hours. They come into the captain's run on Thursday, so they may be involved. Not both of them. One's probably a little bit ahead of the other.
Would it be fair to say that
Sam
Humphreys
still,
is it fair to say that Humphreys is
Humphreys a little bit ahead of Sam at the moment.
He's a bit ahead, okay.
But as I said, they haven't done back-to-back sessions. And this is probably the first week that both of them have covered 2 days. So we'll just have to see how both of them react over the next 24 hours.
And Peter Nelson has deputised fairly well.
Yeah. No. Peter's done pretty well now. He's settled into there, and he looked pretty comfortable against Treviso. Obviously we were pretty comfortable scoreboard wise. And that helps. We know it's going to be a different kettle of fish over in Edinburgh. We haven't gone particularly well over there. The last couple of seasons have been pretty tight games. We were lucky enough to get away with a win last year, and they've had a good start this season. So we know what type of game it's going to be. It's going to be pretty attritional, and it's. I suppose when you look at the games, they've wanted to capitalise during this period, and they've done that. A bit like the Scarlets as well, and so it's trying to make sure that we can get a little bit of consistency of our home form away from home. And look, it has been a strange sort of first part of the season. With playing a couple of games and off, and trying to get that sort of even consistency in training and consistency and everybody feeling comfortable. It was actually bizarre as a coach as well. Because once you get to this stage of the season, it's game, and then all of a sudden you've got 2 weeks off and go, right, okay, and trying to sort of prep further down the line and stuff, but we know we're going to get into a bit of a long stretch coming up here now, and we're conscious of that.
In terms of not having a front-line place kicker, now, okay, you didn't maybe need one against Treviso because you're scoring plenty of tries, but is that a concern for you when you maybe go into a tighter game?
No, definitely, and it's something we've discussed over the last, since the Treviso game, and we've tried to get the 2 boys who've kicked, McCluskey and Peter, out on a bit more of a regular basis, because especially away from home, these are tight games, they're never runaway games, and as I said, Edinburgh have got off to a good start, so we know it's going to be a tight game, and it can come down to goal kicks, and it is vital that we keep the scoreboard ticking along, and we try and put Edinburgh under enough pressure that that they maybe change the style that they want to play, and if you can get that, and it was a bit like the Scarlets, where Scarlets got off a couple of penalties, and all of a sudden they were 9 points, and we couldn't really get into the game, and then you chase it a little bit, and things don't quite go right for you, and then that's when the pressure comes on, and you sort of try and maybe overplay a little bit in certain areas where you're maybe a little bit more pragmatic at times, and and that's why it is key that if we do get opportunities, we've got to take those 3 points, 6 points, 9 points, and try and get that little bit of a buffer.
Just remember his last game, obviously you say you know what to expect, but they were really able to use the set piece as a platform to score off the road and maul and the scrum as well. How important is it going to be for the forwards to combat that this week?
Yeah, look, obviously we had a decent platform against Treviso. If you look at Edinburgh, they've done pretty well when they got close to the opposition line. They've been pretty attritional. They've got a decent platform as well. They've got in for maybe a couple of maul tries, and they work hard around the corner in that area. And the key for us is we've got to match that physicality, and we've also got to try and make sure that when we get into those areas that we have that platform and can really threaten them. I think if you look at it, they haven't had a lot of set piece in their own 22 to deal with. You know, so a lot of teams haven't been able to hold on to the ball particularly well in the right areas, and you know, when you play games like that and you don't hold on to the ball in the right areas, then it does allow the opposition to get that easy out and that easy platform to clear their own lines, and then you have to play from slightly deeper, and you know, and in essence that, you know, that can potentially play in the Edinburgh's hands. You know, so we've got to try and make sure when we get into the right areas that we're patient with the ball, and, you know, and try and really put pressure on them.
You spoke a lot about the discipline already this season, but the same referee against Newport last season, there was a couple of struggles with the breakdown and a couple in the set piece as well. How important is it going to be to maintain the discipline throughout?
No, definitely. You know, and look, if you look at the game last year against Edinburgh, I think Stuart McCluskey unfortunately got red carded, and I think we had a yellow card at the back end. I think Franco got yellow carded, so I think we played maybe 12-14 minutes with 13 men. You know, and that's why we were pretty lucky to get out of there with a win in the end. You know, going back to the goal kicking, I mean, their goal kicker missed 6 kicks at goal that weekend, which aided us very kindly. You know, so if we're not disciplined and we allow that opportunity to have 6 kicks at goals, I would say that he probably won't miss 6 this weekend. You know, and that is a key aspect. You know, and you know, but look, we've been pretty decent, you know, with regards to that, and you know, we tried to be, you know, we've emphasised, you know, that to the players, that it is key, especially away from home, to be as disciplined as we can and paint good pictures for the referee. Because look at, you know, the breakdown is always going to be a contentious issue, and some weeks it falls for you, and some weeks the ref's interpretation, you know, goes against you. You know, and we found that against Leinster in the pre-season game, that, you know, we felt we were trying to clean people out. We went off our feet a few times, got penalised. The knock-on effect when we played Edinburgh in the you know, that second pre-season friendly was that we were hesitant and nervous about going into those breakdowns, and they blew us away at the breakdown. So we know they've got a, you know, a pretty decent back row, and you know, good experience in there, and you know, that is going to be a key aspect of the game.
Apart from that half situation, I mean, are you fairly healthy everywhere else, bar who's away? You might have to go away.
Yeah, no, we're not too bad. We're not too bad. A few bumps and bruises, but you know, everybody seems to be in good shape. You know, and at this stage, you know, I said, bar, you know, the guys are away at the World Cup, obviously JP. You know, we're reasonably, we're getting as close to a full complement as we can at this stage of the season with those guys away.
Okay. Thanks, Neil.
Thank you.
Thank you.